I'm the Senior Director of Office of Equity at the Port of Seattle, and my name is Bookda, Gheisar. And one of the strategies that our office is involved in is how do we encourage young people, women, and people of color who are not aware, have no visibility to these careers, to learn more about these careers. That's one. Second is how do we really engage industry partners to understand more about the core competencies that they really want and create training programs that are based on those core competencies and lead young people and people of color and women into these careers. We know that a lot of these jobs are really well paid and they're quality jobs, family wage income in King County, which is very expensive and hard to make a living here in King County and to stay a resident of the city of Seattle. So these jobs are really fantastic for people to learn about, and many of them don't require a four-year college degree or special training programs and have shorter term training programs that could lead you to a job pretty early on in your life. And so we really feel like there's incredible opportunities that people need to learn about.
Do you think is it an issue of awareness on both sides? Because you mentioned on the one side some of these students aren't aware of what kind of opportunities are out there, but then also on the other side, on the part of some of the vendors not being able to kind of communicate what it means or what they need.
Yeah, I think it's true that it's both because the industries, the companies are seeing that a lot of their workforce is near retiring and not as many people are entering the field that are exiting the fields. And so they're faced with a labor shortage. And now post-COVID, we know that is also especially true, that there is a labor shortage. And so I think there's a crisis of short-term and long-term, like how do we attract people to these fields. But in terms of like attracting young people and communities of color and women, I think a lot of these jobs people have never heard of. And certainly at the Port of Seattle, we've done a lot to inform and educate, and I think other partners are doing that. But many of these learning opportunities are one-offs and not really deep strategies that engage people. Like going to high schools one time, talking to young people, doesn't lead a young person. I have kids, and I know that just because they heard a speaker one time, they don't really lead to choosing those careers. So there needs to be deeper strategies in place.
You obviously had a great discussion up on stage with the other speakers here at PME. What were some of the main takeaways you had or something that really stuck with you from that conversation?
Yeah, one of the panel members today talked about, training programs to show young people about a typical day in the life of a, person who spends a day on a boat and works in the fishing industry. And there were young people in the audience who said, that's exactly my life. And I think that if other young people understood how there's a lot involved, and it's not just one task that you repetitively do, but an interesting job that involves so many things and travel and seeing interesting places, then more people would be interested. So I think there are efforts in place. The second thing that I thought was most interesting about the panel discussion today is that people were saying, oh, these are experts in the field, and they were saying that they were not aware of some of the efforts that audience members were bringing up. So I think clearly we could do a better job of mapping who does what and connecting people with each other through databases, websites, but more communication about who's doing what.
Makes a lot of sense. What's the best way that our National Fisherman audience can either be part of this conversation or kind of continue it?
Well, I'm at the Port of Seattle and certainly connecting with the port, but I think all of the speakers today shared some information about how to get in touch with their training programs, their apprenticeship programs and leadership training programs that they're putting in place. But I think that there must be a lot of efforts, and the challenge is that these efforts are often not comprehensively and strategically connected to each other. So I hope that together we can connect all of us.